Hi, welcome to another video where I am demonstrating my technique where I use the Albrecht Durer watercolour pencils as a foundation to later building up fur texture on one of my portrait commissions using the Polychromo pencils. Here again you can see I have already placed down my colours and my tones. This is just the underpainting, remember. About another 15 to 20 layers of oil pencil will go over the top of this foundation once it is dry. I did remember to actually note down all of the colours that I've used to place the pigment down on this one. So I'll just list them and I will pop them in the description of the video as well. We've got black and white. The main orangey tones are coming from burnt ochre and sanguine, two colours that I use quite a lot of. There's also dark indigo there in the darker toned areas and the shadows under the ears, around the nose and the muzzle. There's a cream. There's manganese violet, which is quite a pinky purple, but I can see it there, and once it's mixed in with the other colours on the support, it blends in really well. We've got caput, mortuum and mortuum violet, which are the ready burgundy tones, let's say, around the wrinkles of the fur and the shading around the right hand side of the neck. We've got light flesh. There's a Prussian blue just around the nose on the highlights there, and a warm grey one is in there too. So as you can see here, I'm using the Japanese water brush, but I am actually washing it off in a little pot of water and just a piece of tissue to the side there, just to take away any residue pigment that's left on in between each stroke. I've gone over quite liberally. I add quite a lot of water when I do this, so you can pretty much then mix on the support, like using a bit like a palette for your watercolours. So where you've got 2 or 3 layers, say where I've got a layer of this sanguine and the ochre, and I've gone over it with maybe the cream or a warm grey. When you then add the water over the top, you can mix just like you would if you were working with watercolours using a palette. It's quite effective, to be honest. I try and do the lighter areas first, but here I've done it a bit more methodically, working down the face, just so you can see how it comes together as I work my way down. Here a bit more detail. You can see on the right hand side of the face it's more in shadow, and there's more of that manganese violet and the mortuum violet coming through here. And on the ear you can see where I've gone over the colours with the light grey, the warm grey, sorry, pencil, so that when you add the water you get a slightly hazier look to it, so it is more of a highlight, a lot softer it makes it. And again, remember, I'm going to go over all of this with oil pencils once this is dry. So just working over the muzzle. More darker areas here. As we go down around the bottom of the muzzle, you can see there's lots of dark indigo, lots of the bits of black gone in there, not a lot, and then I've gone over the whole lot with the warm grey just to lift some of the areas. But I want this quite a dark undertone because it is dark fur actually on the dog itself. Again, when you get to the nose, it's a black nose at the end of the day, and even though I'm going to place other colours and layers on it with the Polychromos, I want the base layer to be that underlying deep dark tone. That's what we're trying to achieve here. We're not going for a finished look on the dog. We're not trying to create the end piece. We're literally trying to get those undertones and undercolours in place. It's quite difficult trying to remember. With practice you do get it. You sort of, you know what you need to put down, what you don't need to put down. Someone once asked me, how much detail exactly do I lay down when I do this? Not a lot, to be honest, because it's all workable. You're going to build on it so much. That's the great thing with these pencils. They're so versatile. And also working on the pastel mat, it's not quite the same as working on watercolour paper, where you're not able to lay down as many layers. The pastel mat is a sanded paper, so you can keep adding layers until it is saturated in almost shiny, I suppose. But at the moment it's that rough texture, and this pigment is, when I add the water, it sinks into the first grooves of the texture, and then it still needs plenty of grit, that when you go in with those oil pencils it grips, and you can go from dark black right up to light creams and greys, take it right back down to dark and back up to light. I usually do that quite a lot when I do the oil pencils. I work from dark to light to dark to light, which a lot of people go, oh, I didn't realise you could do that. Well, you can. But basically it's practice, and pastel mat isn't for everyone. I absolutely love it. It's so versatile. It takes pretty much anything that I throw at it. So you can see here we're coming pretty much to the end of getting the water down on the base pigment. The next stages I will video hopefully for you, and remember I'll list those colours into the sidebar for you as well. I'll just show a quick picture in a second of the scan of the watercolour base dry, and then hopefully the next update will be me building up the fur texture. Thank you very much.